everyone. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make conscious content. Okay, so a lot of us have this question about like, how do I post? And when I do post, what do I say? Where do I get ideas for my content? And, how can I write out better content? Yeah, where do ideas come from? How do I get myself into the right state before I do content? And also, um, what are some copywriting formulas so that when I am ready to do a promotion, that people actually want what I got? Okay, so I just wanted to share with you some formulas that I have used, and I'm going to teach you how to use them for yourself. Okay, so the way to write conscious content, first of all, we need to get into a state of peace, presence, and awareness of your potential before you begin. Okay, so the best content I ever write is after meditation. I'll spend some time in the morning to do meditation, and I spend time before I even check my phone. So don't check your phone, don't check your computer, don't do anything. For me, I don't, in many cases, I won't even have coffee, and I'll just, or breakfast, and I just spend some time in meditation, just for meditation's sake, not because I'm trying to write better copy, but just because I want to meditate, because I want to go deeper. I want to advance myself spiritually. I want to be in a good state for my day and for other people. So I do my meditation, spend 20 minutes in meditation, for example, and get into a state of presence and try to recognize your own presence and peace. Don't just let the presence and peace come and go. Like, stay with the presence when it comes. Stay with the peace when it comes. Okay? And then from that place, you can try to become aware of your own potential. And when you're aware of your potential, this will make you feel really uplifted and positive and really like indestructible. Okay? The potential is indestructible, and we can connect to this. Okay? So I'll do another meditation on this, but for now, this is what you'll do. Okay, then you get into a state of joy, excitement, and enthusiasm for what you're doing. Okay, so if you don't feel joy, if you don't feel excitement, if you don't feel enthusiasm for your own work, for your own offer, for your own service, probably other people won't feel it either, right? So energy is transferred. They say sales is a transference of energy. And pretty much everything is sales. Sales is how energy moves. And when you write content, you're transferring your energy into the reader. When you're doing a video, you're transferring your energy into the listener and the watcher. Okay, they're going to experience what you experience, which is why you can see I try to do videos from a high energy place. And you can do the same. So in the morning, especially, give yourself permission to get into that state of joy, excitement, enthusiasm. It could be subtle, doesn't have to be overtly like where you're jumping up and down, but just you're excited about what you're doing. Okay, joy is an inner experience. This doesn't mean that you're a big smile. It doesn't mean that you're laughing. It doesn't mean anything. It just means on the inside you feel really good about what you're doing, about your offer, about your program, about working with people, about connecting to people. You want to get into that state, so get there first, okay? And then you give yourself time and space to flow and create content. Okay, so whatever comes to mind, just write it down. What I like to do is, so sometimes I'll write a post where I just introduce myself. I'll just say, hey, I haven't introduced myself in here in a while. Here's who I am. Or if there's something on my mind that I feel like is relevant to my ideal audience, I'll share that. Or I try to share something that is relevant to my ideal audience and tries to solve their problems and give them value. That's pretty much not the easy way, but that's the simplest way I can explain it for now, for this month. If you just think, how can I help? And you just go share things that will help. Okay, here are some content ideas. Write down your values. What are your own values? What do you value in your life? Your content can flow naturally from your values, and when it does, you'll attract the right fit clients. When you actually take a stand for your own values, this will naturally repel the wrong people and will attract the right people. Marketing and attraction works like magnets. A magnet doesn't just attract and it doesn't just repel, it does both. So your own content will attract and repel. And a powerful magnet does both equally, right? If you think about a powerful leader, in many cases, they are loved and disliked, equally. So Donald Trump, for example, has a very magnetic pull. There's some people that love him so much and would do anything he says. And some people are repulsed by him and don't even want to hear his name. It makes them want to vomit. Okay. So he's a magnet, and he has more strong of a magnetic force than a lot of other people. Okay. Some people would say it's good. Some people would say it's bad. In this context, we're not going to label it as good or bad. We're just going to say that it's working as a magnet. It's functioning as a magnet. And if we want to, we shouldn't be extreme like him. That's not, we're all heart-centered spiritual people. So don't do that. But even like Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Jesus, right? Even Buddha, these people were all hated and loved. Gandhi brought independence to India. Okay. He was hated and loved. He was loved. He helped. He had a very powerful mission, and he had people opposing him. Martin Luther King, even John Lennon, right? A lot of love, obviously some hatred as well, because they were both killed. MLK was put in jail. Jesus, right? Some people loved him. Jesus is continuing to benefit people even today. Even if you're not Christian, you have to believe that the people who follow him are at least getting some benefit, right? And people hated him enough to kill him, right? Buddha was hated by his cousin. Buddha's cousin tried to poison him. Buddha had haters and he had followers. And it's the same with you, right? When you're doing something powerful and standing up for what you believe in, you're going to be a magnetic force in the world that's going to attract the right people and repel certain people too. And that's part of your mission here. That's part of what you're doing. That's part of being a leader. Okay. That's part of marketing and sales. That's part of business. Okay. Steve Jobs, right? Jeff Bezos. These are powerful leaders, and they magnetize people. So some people love them, some people don't like them. Okay. Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk is another good example. Okay. So now is your time to make a decision that you're going to take a stand for what you believe in too. And this really starts, if you want to do this in a congruent way, in a way that never backfires, it never has any bad effect. Don't just be random and sensational and shocking. Don't do that. First, figure out your own actual values, what you stand for, what you believe in, what you would die defending. What group of people would you die defending? What values and principles would you die defending? These are your real values. And now if you start to share these and integrate these into your message, it'll naturally be strong. It'll attract people and it will repel people. And so it's going to be a magnet. Okay. You're going to see how important magnets are soon. Okay. Another idea for content is the desires of your audience. Okay. So you want to figure out the desires of your audience, meaning what are like the basic desires? They have desires towards pleasure, away from pain. They don't necessarily want your product or service. In fact, they don't even know who you are at first. And so their desires are more fundamental. They're just like, I want to get away from this painful feeling. I want to get out of stress. I want to wake up feeling good today. I want to be able to come home from work and my husband or my wife to have prepared a meal for me. Or I want to, I just want my relationship to work. Or I just want a meditation practice to work. Or I just want this bad feeling to go away. I want to wake up tomorrow with my life being like this, right? I want to wake up tomorrow and this problem is gone. So their desires are more basic like that. You have to get in touch with these and just start speaking. If you start speaking the language of your client's desires, and if you do it in the words that they would use themselves, then you're going to really capture their attention. You're going to pull them in. Okay, so your content should do this. See your expertise. If you don't know what else to write, or in many cases, you're going to infuse your expertise into your posts anyway, but just share with people like anecdotes about how you were studying with your coach or your guru or your meditation teacher or your professor or your Reiki instructor or whatever. And, this little anecdote happened, or you learned this, or anything that demonstrates your expertise. Just share about your expertise and how you received your expertise, right? Like, what are the insights that I had on retreat? What are the insights that I had living at the meditation center? What was a day in the life? A lot of people ask me, what was a day in the life like as a monk? What happened in the community? What happened at lunch? What was lunch like? That would be a fun story for me to write. Like, what was lunch like living at the temple? Okay. These are all things that are related to my expertise. Or if there's specific things like the thing, here's how to meditate. Here's how to sit before meditation. Here's how to prepare the room to meditate. Here's what to do when distractions arise. Here's what to do if you're tired and you keep falling asleep when you meditate. Like that, okay? Here's how to boost your meditation practice really easily. Okay, FAQs. Now this one's interesting. I actually recommend, and I did this last night actually, you want to start collecting frequently asked questions. As you start putting yourself out there, you're going to start collecting frequently asked questions. And it's probably good for you to make a list of these and write an answer to them, okay? And you can post in other people's groups on Facebook asking, hey, what are your main questions about this? Or what are your struggles here? What do you want to learn about this? And you're going to get people telling you their frequently asked questions. You could also Google this. What are the frequently asked questions about whatever? Or maybe in your experience, you already know a lot of the FAQs. Or as you start to put yourself out there, people will start asking you questions, okay? You could even do like a free workshop where you share some value, then ask people, do you have any questions? And then you'll find out a lot of frequently asked questions. And then what you do is a lot of your content is simply going to be answering these frequently asked questions. We call this FAQ marketing, okay? So a lot of your content is simply going to be inspired by the frequently asked questions that other people have. And you just simply answer those questions. If you're really on the pulse of your audience, if your finger's to the pulse of your ideal client and to your market, which it should be, if you want to be successful, you have to have your finger on their pulse. If your finger is really there, you'll start to hear their frequently asked questions. And this means that you'll always have content to share about, okay? The next one is your story and experience. So anything about your story, anything about your experience. How did you come to be in the situation you're in now? What trials did you have to overcome? Your tribulations, your struggles, your mess. They say your mess becomes your message, right? So what was your mess before you figured things out? You can always write about this. There's always sharing about this, once or twice a week would get you clients. Just if that's all you did, if that's simply all you did from following this course is share your story and how your mess, which becomes your message. If you did that twice a week, you're going to get clients. I promise you. Okay. So your struggle. Okay. Again, your struggle. What did you struggle with? The things that we struggle with are the things that we become the best at teaching. If I'm very natural at something, it's hard for me to teach it. But if I struggled with something a lot and then figured it out, now I learned all the in and outs. I learned the specifics. I overcame mindset issues, right? Someone who's really, really natural at something is not always a very good coach or teacher at it. That's why they say the C student is a better teacher in many cases than the A student, right? Okay. Common myths and misconceptions, right? So what are some common myths and misconceptions, right, about your subject matter, right? Some people say following your heart is not practical. Some people say that you can't have it all. Some people say that whatever, right? So you come up with, figure out like what are the common myths and misconceptions. And again, if you start talking to your audience, you'll find out that you really do have specialized knowledge and that most people, probably 90, 95, maybe even 99% of people in the world don't actually know what you know. They don't, if you did the last part right and you really found your soul line niche, you're going to be in a situation where only like 5% or less of the whole world, probably less, probably 1%, has the knowledge that you have. And so they actually have misconceptions. Even though you might think it's simple, you might think it's easy, you might think everybody knows this, you're going to be surprised that most people don't know it. Even the people that you meet on Facebook, even the people that are in your ideal audience group, you're going to be surprised about their misconceptions. I promise you, you're going to be surprised. And so try to find out what those are by talking to them, and then answer those questions, overcome those misconceptions and those myths in your content. Okay. Mantras for your audience, that would be helpful. So a mantra is like a short statement that has a lot of power. So, your mess becomes your message. That's a mantra. Follow your heart. That's a mantra. My dad wrote a song about that. He said, to find your way through the woods in the dark, I close my eyes and I follow my heart. So I could say, I close my eyes and I follow my heart. That's a mantra. What else? Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. That's a mantra. Just anything that's related to your work. Try to find short phrases that are really beautiful and powerful and potent, that are related to what you do, and just share those. That you can share that as just like the headline for a Facebook Live, or you can share that as the headline and then write a post underneath it, or you can just share the simple mantra and just leave it like that. Okay? Either way, you're going to be adding value to the marketplace when you do this. And copywriting formulas. So you can take the above ideas, and when you have a formula to share it in, it makes it sometimes more comfortable. Okay, so you could just simply do all these things separately, and if you did, you'd get good results. However, for those of you who want to go deeper into really infuse high-level marketing with this, let's continue. Okay. So copywriting formulas. So there's 3 formulas that I want to share with you today. The first one is called Magnet Mantra, Words of Wisdom, and Initiate Invitation. So 3 steps. Basically, you're doing a magnet mantra, something to draw in the attention of your ideal audience. You're doing words of wisdom. So this is where you share something helpful that's going to solve their problems or help them to fulfill their desires. The words of wisdom, it's like saying value. It's like you're giving them value. And initiate invitation is just some kind of invitation where you're getting them to do something. What's their next step? So this could be get on a discovery call with you. This could be join your Facebook group. It could be commenting below and you'll send them the PDF. It could be to message you. It could be comment below. But again, an invitation is different than like an offer. An invitation is simply you're doing it from a place of giving. An invitation is coming from your own generosity. Whenever you're making someone an offer or an invitation, it's a very generous act that you're doing. Okay. And in the case of organic content, especially this month, for you, you're mostly going to be giving a lot of value this month, and you're not going to be doing any fancy calls to actions. So most of the time, you're simply going to get them to comment below. Your call to action is usually going to be like a question, like you just ask them a question. What, can you relate to this? Maybe you share a story, and what are your 3 best tips for this? Or what resonates with you? Or how are you going to apply this into your life? Or, so that's a question, and it gets them to engage with the post. And then you can say, so by the way, when people engage with your post, Facebook thinks that it's a good post, and it starts to show it to more people. Facebook wants to keep people on Facebook. So the more you can get people to engage with your content, the more Facebook is going to consider you a cool person, and they're going to show it to more people because you're helping them with their own business model, which is to keep people on Facebook engaged and happy. Okay. So when you share a post, the main thing that you're trying to do is you're trying to get engagement. You're trying to get people to like, to comment, to then reply to your comment, to their comment. And that's just going to keep them on Facebook longer. And that's what Facebook wants. And so they're going to reward you when you help them with that. Okay. So that's just how virality works on Facebook. The more likes and comments you get, the more people see it. So that's why we're not going to be sharing lots of links in our comments or in our post. We're simply going to get people to comment. That's going to be the main invitation that you make to people, is for them to comment below. You know, that's the main invitation. Okay. Now, occasionally, and maybe 6 times this month, which is my suggestion, 6 times this month, maybe 8 to 10 times in the next 6 weeks, you're going to get people, you're going to make an invitation specifically to get on a discovery call with you. So 6 times this month, 8 to 10 times in the next 6 weeks, you're going to make an invitation for people to get on a discovery call with you. And if you do this 6 times in the next month, while every other day offering intense, immense value all over Facebook and Facebook groups and on your own profile, you're going to be pulling people from all over Facebook onto your own page, and then they will see this post that makes an invitation for them to get on the phone with you. Okay? And that's good, because when people see that post, then they're likely to say yes, and they're already getting value, so they start to trust you. People trust people when they receive value from them. When you become an educator, you immediately elevate your status into the level of a teacher, which is in our society a fairly high status, and especially there's a high level of trust that we have for teachers, because there's also a position of authority that comes when someone's teaching. You'll be surprised if you simply just start teaching and helping your ideal clients, they're immediately going to think that you have value, they trust you, you're an authority, you're a teacher, you're an expert. They're going to start to think those things about you. Even if you don't feel like that yourself, they're going to feel that way about you. And all you have to do is help them and give them value and give them content and teach them stuff. That's it. Even if that stuff is very obvious, they're still going to believe that you're an authority and that you're a valuable expert and that they trust you. Okay, simply from that. It's just how we're wired. It's just psychology. Okay, so just to go deeper into this, the magnet mantra is an attractive or sometimes shocking or curiosity-inducing statement that captures the attention of your ideal audience, but not everybody else. So there's some things that will capture the attention of everyone. Like yesterday, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, right? Like if you said that would pull in lots of people. But what if you said, that the key to living your best life is to simply give up on working for yourself alone. That would pull in the attention of somebody else, right? If you shared a picture of a dog in a funny hat, that will attract a certain type of attention. But if you share a picture of yourself with crystals and your meditation cushion with a cup of tea, it's going to attract a different type of attention. So you want to learn to bring in the right type of attention to your posts. Okay. Words of wisdom is value-based content spoken or written by you with a heart of service, meant to help your ideal clients to achieve their goals and solve their problems. This can be brief, deep, or extensive, and it'll work best when you genuinely touch their hearts and or overcome their objections that would otherwise stop them from working with you in your higher ticket program. So like the advanced ninja approach is to figure out the objections of your ideal client and to answer them in your content before they even ask. Okay, so if you figure out what are the things that hold people back from wanting to join my program, either they don't believe in themselves, or they don't believe my system works, or they don't believe that they can do it with their life circumstances. If you can answer those questions in your content, that will overcome their objections, and now they're ready to work with you. So that's the ninja advanced way to do it. And the simple way to do it is just say something that touches their hearts. And if you can do both at the same time, you're going to have a lot of clients. Okay. The invitation is you transition into talking about your specific invitation in a natural way. So always transition to your invitation. And I like to share my intention. So when you share your actual intention for making the invitation. It makes people feel comfortable. It makes them trust you. Okay. Yeah, people like it when they know your intention. So your intention is simply to serve them, to help, and yeah, you're trying to, what if you said, like, for example, when people join this program, I say, one of my intentions here is for you to get your first clients so that you can invest with me in my higher ticket program. That's a very clear intention. It makes you feel comfortable, right? It makes, one of my coaches did this. It made me feel very comfortable. Like, the intention for me in this program is for me to get some wins and get some clients so that I can sign up with this bigger program. And it worked, right? And so whatever your intention is, like, my intention in doing this call is to help you overcome your problems and to find and to share with you about my program if it's the right fit, right? Whatever, if you have an intention for that, it's okay to share your actual intention for making that invitation. It will make people feel more comfortable. Okay. Okay, so here's the next formula. It's called magnet, story selling, and initiate invitation. So it's the same, except for instead of the words of wisdom, you're going to be telling a story. Okay. So a story takes the client on a journey of transformation and achievement by using yourself or someone you know, such as a previous client, as an example. The ideal clients will see themselves in the shoes of the story character, aka the hero, and will empathize with them. They will learn the lessons that the character learns along the way. So a story is a journey of transformation, and you want the reader or the listener to enter into the shoes of the hero of the story before the journey begins. The journey is a transformative journey that goes through many stages, and here are the 6 stages, right? But it doesn't work unless the reader or listener enters into the shoes of the main character before the journey even begins. So that happens in the first 2. So a story has 6 parts. There's a backstory and the desires. The backstory and the desires both happen really before the journey even starts. Okay. The desires, I suppose, are the beginning of the journey. And you want the reader or listener to get pulled into the backstory and to relate to the character, to identify with them. And if the desires of the character or hero in the story are the same as the desires of the person reading or listening, they will empathize, they will enter into their shoes, they will become bonded with that character. They will relate to them. Does that make sense? This is kind of advanced. This next part is pretty advanced. Okay. So the backstory is the context. You set the stage. So whatever happens in the beginning. Then the desires are both internal and external. So people desire for things on the inside, the desire for things on the outside, and the desire to move towards pleasure and away from pain. So you want to figure out how to include all these types of desires, all 4 types, basically. Okay? So then there's the wall. The wall is when the character or hero is trying to achieve the desires in the old way, in the way that doesn't work, in the way that leaves the hero feeling stuck, trapped, or hopeless. Okay, they're hitting a wall. They're trying to lose weight, but they keep, they're trying to lose weight, but it's because they want to feel better about themselves. They also want to fit into that wedding dress, and they want their partner to look at them with those eyes, right? With those eyes. So they're trying things the old way, which is like diet, exercise, counting calories, and then they discover the new way, right? They have an insight. They discover a new way. The moment of transformation or shift happens. And then I found this thing called putting butter in my coffee, called ketosis, right? Putting butter in my coffee, which makes my body turn into a fat burning machine instead of a sugar burning machine. And then with light exercise plus a lot of healthy fat, I can lose weight without having to count my calories. All I have to do is avoid sugar, basically, and eat healthy fat. So that's a discovery, and is usually catalyzed by the hero finding a mentor, a product, or a new way of doing things. Okay, the advanced strategy for promoting your business is to come up with a new way of doing things. So the old way is something that's common in the marketplace, and you can see that your ideal clients are already trying to fulfill their desires in old ways that are not working. And for them to have faith in you and to believe that what you offer them will be easy and that even they can do it, you have to present it as a new way of doing things. So maybe you have a specific blend of NLP, Reiki, hypnotherapy, and meditation, right? And you do it in a certain way within a certain morning and evening routine that just takes 20 minutes total throughout the day. And if they do it every day for a month, boom, everything changes. So that's a new way, right? Doesn't that sound easy? A new way sounds easy, and it allows people to have faith, because a lot of times they're jaded by trying things the old way and it not working. So they really need it to be a new way. For example, Jesus offered Christianity as a new way. It wasn't an improved way of practicing Judaism. It was a new way to achieve the result of going to heaven, right? And Steve Jobs did not present a better CD. He presented an iPod. An iPod was a new way, right? It had the ability to store hundreds and hundreds and even thousands and thousands of songs on one simple device that would never skip, right? So that was a new way. You can see that this is used in the marketplace a lot. There's always the best way to position your offer is as a new way of doing things. And sometimes it's just a kind of a new label upon a unique blend of things. Maybe you have a unique blend of what you've learned. Even like NLP is a new way. Like back in the day when NLP first came out, it was a new way and everybody jumped on that train. And so maybe if I say I have a new way of guided self meditation, right? That sounds kind of similar to old ways, but yeah, one new way that I came up with in a previous offer, this is when I got my very first clients, was spiritual groove, getting into the spiritual groove. This is a new way to have a better life, is to get into the spiritual groove. And once you're in the spiritual groove, it's easy to stay there. Life is easier in the spiritual groove. When you're out of the spiritual groove, it takes a little effort to get in. And that's why my program is about getting in and staying in the spiritual groove. That was my new way. So you can find a new way too. The new way of achieving the desires that your audience has. And when you find this, in your story, you're going to talk about how you found this and how you discovered it. Okay? And by presenting it within your story, and if you do it right with the wall, with the desires, with the backstory, people are going to get it. They're going to have the same epiphany as you did. They're going to get, oh, I just need this new way. Okay? And then you lay out the path. What decisions were made, what plan was committed to, what course was taken, what actions were implemented, what was the journey like? Was it easy? Was it hard? Was it full of conflict and drama, or was it smooth sailing? So what was the path? Usually there's different things that happen, starting with a decision, then you decide to do this thing, and then you do these things, and there's drama along the way, and it was easy, it was hard, it was perfect, and then you get to the results. You get to the results. The results are, what are the internal and external transformations? The internal transformations, which ones have taken place, what lessons have been learned, what desires for internal things have been fulfilled, right? Like, I really wanted to just feel better about myself and to have that feeling of how my partner looks at me again with those eyes, right? So they get that. That happens. You have to tie the knot together. The desires and the results link. The desires and the results are like the end caps of this story. The desires are what set you out on the journey, and the results are what make it all worthwhile. And when the desires match the results, people have desires for the results. And when you tell your story, you have to talk about the actual results that are related to the same desires. And when you're figuring out how to tell your story, you sometimes you start off with what the results are, and then you figure out, okay, then in the beginning of my story, what desires do I need to mention? And figure out the desires that actually lead to those results. Okay. And then what external achievements have been made, what challenges overcome, what results acquired, what contests were won, what desires for external things have been realized. Okay. And I went to that, I fit into the wedding dress and blah, 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 or whatever, like external things that happened, talk about that. And you can add rocket fuel to this by talking about the results you've gotten for your clients. Okay. So if you can show that these results and that this process is repeatable, not just for the hero of this story, but for other people too, this will make it really amazing. This will make it viral. This will make people run to you begging for your help. Okay. So if you don't have already, collect testimonials, collect results from clients where it worked for them. So that means for your first few clients, really for all your clients, work extra hard to get them results, because these results allow you to tell better stories, which will get you even more clients. Okay. When you tell the story the right way, your ideal client will empathize with the hero and take the journey with them, emotions and all. Okay, they will literally feel the same emotions as the hero. They will relate when they hear the desires. Okay, so you need to, as you're telling the story, you need to get yourself into the emotional state as the hero in the journey. So in this part about desires, talk about the desires. The positive desires feel exciting and enthusiastic. The desires away from negative things feel they feel like even frustrating sometimes. They feel like there's a struggle, like there's pain within those desires sometimes. You need to feel that, or like emote, project those feelings so that the audience feels that. Okay. The hero, they will feel frustration and anguish at the wall. They'll feel desperation. Oh, I just couldn't figure it out. No matter what I did, I couldn't figure it out. It wasn't working. Right? Talk about that with the desperation in your voice, and they'll get it. They'll feel it too. Right? They will put themselves in the shoes of the character in the beginning of the story because they relate to them. And then they'll follow through and have the same emotions. And that means when the release happens and the eureka and the epiphany happens during the discovery part of the story, the listener is going from that frustration to the eureka. There's a big shift from the frustration of the wall to the eureka of the discovery. And that shift is normally the main part, that emotional shift from the wall to the discovery, from the frustration, desperation, desire into the joy of the discovery and the insight. That shift, when you get that part right, your story will work like magic and you're going to get people coming to you to be your client. That's what this is, the whole story. That's the main part of it. Boom. And then you have to tie it down with the results. They will feel determined and committed to growth and transformation when they hear the plan, and they will feel confidence when they hear about the actual path. So when you fill in the details and talk about what it was like to go through after the discovery, after the eureka, after the insight, what was it like to implement this into your life? They will feel confidence. When you talk about the plan, they will feel determined and committed along with you. You have to feel this way too, right? They will feel fulfillment and satisfaction when the hero achieves results. So like the listener didn't achieve anything. They didn't achieve anything yet, but they feel fulfilled and satisfied just by listening. So you've brought them all the way from open to close. You've brought them all the way through the whole journey, from the relating to the ideal character to fulfillment and satisfaction of achieving desires and results. And in the middle, it was all possible because you found a new way. And guess what? When someone hears this, they're going to be like, I want to find that new way for myself. How can I get that new way too? And then you say, well, it just so happens I have a product or service. I have a coaching program that delivers this new way, right? Your program fulfills on the new way. The new way is something that they can implement through your program. They pretty much have to sign up for your program if they want to apply this new way to their life. If they want to actually, implement the new way, if they want to practice it, if they want to apply it, they want to get the new way, they pretty much have to join your program. That's the only way. Okay, so that's why you set it up like that. This is really genius. Okay. They will feel even more confident when those results are attainable by others, right? So you talk about other clients. So it's not just the hero of the story. You talk about other people who achieve similar results and had a similar journey. They'll feel even more confident. The context and the backstory, it makes it all make sense. You need the attractive character needs to be sort of relatable. Okay. And by infusing your own emotions into this framework, the appropriate emotions during the appropriate steps, the audience will follow and they'll have epiphanies along with you. And those epiphanies will make them the epiphanies, first of all, make them believe that the new way is the key for them. And then your offer is the way for them to get and apply this new way into their life. Okay, that hopefully that makes sense. If not, please just understand that this is very advanced. And if you watch this video a bunch more times, you'll probably start to get it. Okay. So then same as above, when you initiate the invitation, you're posting in other people's, if you're posting in other people's groups, don't make an invitation that leads them outside the group. A lot of people are asking that. They're like, what's allowed to do in other people's groups? The answer is you can do anything except for take them outside the group. You have to keep them inside that group. So you can ask for comments. You can say, comment below if this. Tell me about a time when this. Can you relate to this? What do you resonate most with about this? You can ask them questions and get them to comment below. That's it. Just simply do that. That's definitely allowed. Okay. On your own timeline, ask for comments 80% of the time. 20% of the time, invite them into free things, right? So this month, for this 6 weeks, for 20% of the time, it's okay to make an invitation about a free phone call, a free Facebook group, a free PDF. In this context, we're just simply going to do your free discovery call, okay? Don't mention any prices on Facebook. Don't talk about prices on Facebook. If you're in Facebook Messenger with someone, it's okay to talk about prices, but for a high ticket program, it doesn't really make sense to do that. It's better to just get them on the phone. Okay. So now here is the last piece of what I want to share today about conscious content. This is a formula called magnet. This, by posting like this, just follow this formula where you're posting a magnet post, and you can either speak this in a video format, or you can write it out, or you can write it out and do it as a video. And if you do write it out, one good way is to use a picture. Use a picture of yourself or just some really nice picture that your audience will resonate with, and write this out. And sometimes you can speak it out. This generally doesn't work that well for Facebook Lives, by the way, because you'll find that you go through it too fast. And the Facebook Live is supposed to kind of drag on a little bit longer. So I wouldn't really do this for a Facebook Live. I would follow the last video about Facebook Lives. But if you're going to be posting content, you can do it like this, as like a video that isn't live, or a written. This works really well for written posts. Okay. And the written posts work really well with a picture. Okay. So magnet mantra, capture your ideal audience with a magnet on their desires. So their desires towards pleasure, away from pain, boom. Say something that pulls them in with the kind of a hook on their desire. You pull them in. So now you introduce the attractive character and you state credentials. So this attractive character is you. So for me, I would say a former Buddhist monk, former counselor, I have a degree in psychology, and blah, blah, blah. So I'd say a little bit about myself here. And for you, you state whatever credentials you have. Okay. Being the owner and founder of your company is a credential in a sense, or a longtime spiritual practitioner is part of a credential. Be creative, find your real credentials that are related to your journey and to the results that you have. Okay. Telling a very mini story is good here. You can tell a very mini story that tells people about how you went from this to this. In a sense, that's your real credential, is your journey from where they are to where they want to be, from where your ideal clients are to where they want to be, and from where you were to where you are now. Boom. If you can tell that story in like 1 or 2 sentences, that's your credential. Okay. So now you go deeper. Take it deeper by telling them more, elaborate on the story, or give them value, and deepen the experience. You want to draw them in, draw the reader in. You're going to pull them into like a trance. Their whole world will disappear, and they're just going to be with you, present with you in sort of like a trance as you pull them deeper into this post. Okay, that's the next part. Okay, newlywed invitation. If you want to learn about how to pull somebody into a trance, you have to learn to pull yourself into one through meditating more. Okay, my advice would be meditate more, take more time to meditate and just sit in silence. Your mind will start to absorb into like positive trances on things, positive reflections, a deep experience of something where your whole world disappears and you're just singularly focused and present on one thing. If you can do this for yourself, you can help other people to find the same state. Okay. So now I'm calling this a newlywed invitation, which means a newlywed, a good way to think about newlywed is bashful, timid, and restrained. A newlywed is bashful, timid, and restrained. When you give an invitation, be a little bit bashful, be a little bit excited, don't be overbearing. Do invite them, but don't do it with any pressure. Don't give them any pressure. So does that make sense? Imagine that you're a newlywed inviting someone to the reception or whatever, or into the after party, or into the wedding, right? You're or into the baby shower. It's a bashful, timid, restrained, kind of a little bit excited, a little bit shy invitation. Okay, this doesn't mean that you don't have confidence, but it just means that you're doing it in a light way without any pressure. Okay, and you're just simply doing it because you want to, because you feel it's right, and you're not trying to coerce anyone into anything. Okay, and enthusiastically summarize. So then in one sentence, you try to summarize everything else. Like, so if you are a high achieving woman who is looking to let that stress go, comment below, say yes below, and I'll message you with the invitation to my calendar. Or, so if you are a heart-centered person looking to live your best life, comment below with your favorite emoji, and let's connect, whatever. So something that summarizes the whole post. And again, whatever the invitation is, whatever the invitation that you're making is, you bring together everything from the audience to the desires that they have to the invitation. You bring them all together in one singular sentence, usually with like, so if you are this, then do this. And if you want to add it, make it time sensitive, I'm offering 5 calls, but only for this week. Or whatever. For a lot of posts, you don't need to use that part. But if you're making an offer, then you can. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I know this was kind of deep and extensive, but you might have to watch this a couple of times. The basic thing I'd say is to go out and start helping people and to get yourself into a state of high presence before you do, and to just post things that are valuable, that are in line with your values, where you're answering frequently asked questions of your ideal audience and telling your story. Okay, if you do this, you're going to have big wins. If you can do this within some of the formulas, then you'll have even bigger wins. Okay, learning to tell your story is something that takes practice. By practicing this month, you'll probably learn it, and then you'll probably be able to get even more clients after. Okay, there's no hurt in trying. No one's going to come and criticize you or judge you on your storytelling abilities. In fact, it could work really, really well, which means you basically have nothing to lose. So go out and implement this. You're going to get clients when you do this. You know, if you're not getting the results that you want in your business, it's probably because you're not trying. And here are all the things that you need to know about creating the right content. Please follow them for your own sake. It doesn't affect my life if you do or not, but I want you to get results. So please go do it. Okay? Okay. Have a great night.